gonna get in line and do right. All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom. Welcome everybody, welcome to the Black First program today. And our program that we're doing today is parenting on purpose. Parenting on purpose. When we look and understand our community and understand the condition that it is in, broken families, broken homes, broken spirits. A lot of that is because the family unit is destroyed. And so we're going to look into that and see what is going on, what needs to change, what has happened, and what is our plan forward. We would like to welcome Deacon Reality to the program. Peace and blessings, fam. And our awesome panelists. We have Sister Valerie with her program, Conversations with Valerie. And we also have Sister Cassie with us, who's always with us on Saturday. She is a part of the program. But Sister Cassie has Realm in the Bush. I'm going to go ahead and let our panelists introduce themselves. Go ahead, Sister Valerie.
Hi, my name is Valerie. I'm from Maryland. I'm so happy to be here on this day.
Thank you. Sister Cassie?
Hello, family. How's everybody doing? You know, I am the founder, CEO of Realm in the Bush, and I'm author of a book, Mother's Love, and it has a lot to do with parenting on purpose. So this is an amazing topic. This is one of my favorites. I'm looking forward to this.
All right. So let's start off first by everybody giving a definition of parenting. What do you think parenting is? Sister Valerie, would you like to go first?
All right. My definition of parenting is making a roadmap, teaching the kids how to be successful in life, teaching them right from wrong, showing them, not just teaching them, but showing them the way that they should go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
instilling integrity, and any positive thing that can be instilled in a person.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Sister Valerie. Mm-hmm. Sister Cassie, what say you? What is parenting?
Wow, that's a real big word. Because for real, parenting is pretty much helping your child or you knowing your child for one, and kind of directing them into the purpose, creating productive adults, and pretty much having them to think the way that they're supposed to think. Black first. We have to get to a point where we are understanding our children. And to me, understanding them is learning them and making sure that they understand the purpose, that they understand what is your reason for being on this earth. That's great parenting, and producing great productive adults that's going to not just parent their children, but lineage wise. I rest my mic.
All right, perfect, excellent. And I want to welcome Mellow Cap and Earth Angel 1105 remix to the program. Peace and blessings. And so both of y'all gave excellent understanding on what parenting is. I want to ask real quick. When y'all talk about, I know Sister Valerie says a roadmap, and then Sister Cassie, you talked about knowing your child. When we're dealing with the idea of success, where does the I guess the target of what success looks like, where does that come from? You know, is success a house, 3 cars, you know, family, children? What is success that we will be teaching our children, that we will be giving them the roadmap? What is the success? Sister Valerie, would you like to go first?
Okay. So success to me is teaching a child how to earn money, make a living, not have to depend on nobody. So once you instill everything that's positive into a person, once they grow up, going in and out of jail, once they turn to adulthood, not necessarily going to college, because college doesn't mean everything, but once they can make their own decisions, the right type of decisions, once they can earn money, get a good job, or be an entrepreneur to make good money and able to buy their own home, able to buy their own vehicle, um, even start up their own business. To me, that's success. We have done our job, and once they don't have to borrow money, they're not looking to get on welfare and not looking for somebody to just take care of them. I think that success is right there.
Thank you, Sister Valerie. Sister Cassie, what say you?
To me, I'm thinking of success is pretty much you as a parent understanding who your child is, right?
Mhm.
And you're helping them to understand their gifts
Okay.
and helping them to recognize the gifts. Because once you recognize the gifts,
Mhm.
then they can walk in that pattern. And to me, they'll achieve their purpose. But when you
Mhm.
have children that don't understand the purpose of why am I on this earth,
Mhm.
that's when you go, they're all over the place, right?
Mhm.
But it's going to take a parent watching and understanding those gifts and knowing and being able to recognize. And then you're kind of like pointing it out to your child because they're not going to know their gifts, right? But
Mhm.
once you begin to point it out and you as a parent kind of walk them in that direction, it'll come natural. And
Mhm.
that to me is an achievement, not just for the child, but for the parent.
Yeah.
Now rest my mic.
All right. And so in our caption of this program, in the little screen caption on the advertisement, we have parenting on purpose with Proverbs 22:6.
Mhm.
And Proverbs 22:6 talks about train up a child in the way he should go, and
Mhm.
when he is old, he will not depart. Um, are we all in agreement that that's a good uh, frame of thinking when we're talking about raising Black children?
It is. I think it is, but in these days and times it's like it's not always working out that way.
Mm,
Yeah, it's not always working out that way with this day and age. Back when we were coming up, or when I was coming up, it was totally different. So you can train up a child, but now all the peer pressure and different things, wanting to be in the in crowd and so much more happens. So I mean, it's scripture, and scripture is right, but at the end of the day, it takes a lot for that to really be accurate.
mm. Okay, okay. Sister Cassie, what say you? Sister Cassie, I think you might be on mute.
Okay, sorry, I was. When you say train up a child, to me, that means that I'm going to not just uh, tell them or I guess parent them. I'm going to watch their surroundings for them. I'm going to watch the friends. I'm going to watch pretty much who I allow in their ear.
Mm,
I'm going to pretty much watch who I'm allowing in my home, okay? Because I'm parenting on purpose, right? I'm going to be very leery, watchful on how I allow somebody like my mate to treat me, because I want to make sure that the environment is safe for my child. Because where we go wrong as parents, we allow people to come in and touch not just our lives, but by them touching our lives physically, was what I'm saying, or verbally. Okay. They're touching my child's life. So when I parent on purpose, that means anybody that comes in my house is going to be respectful, not just to me, but to my child. You understand what I'm saying? Because my mate is already going to know the respect thing, because that's how I am. You understand? So therefore, that respect is going to not just be for me, but it's going to be for my household, for his household, for our household. So we're parenting on purpose, meaning that just say if I was a single Black woman, I'm not going to have every man coming in and out of my house. Okay. Because I'm not just disrespecting me, I'm disrespecting my child. So what I do in my home is pretty much, they're going to feed off of that. That's what they're going to learn. So that's what they're going to run with. So for instance, if I have an alcoholic in my home, right? That's all my child knows, right? So what are they going to attract to themselves? Or if I have a man that's abusing me, what is my son going to know? And what is my daughter going to know? My son is going to be an abuser, and my daughter is going to allow a man to abuse her. So it's all connected. So I can't just say it. I got to show it. I got to let them see it. You understand what I'm saying? I can't be sitting up here smoking and then telling my daughter, girl, don't smoke. Don't do as I say. You know, they do as you do. They do as they see you do. They do as they see you. If I'm not a smoker, my kids don't smoke. My kids don't drink. But what they see me do in my home, because I'm always teaching them, right? I'm always teaching them. I'm saying it, but they watching my actions. So if I say, girl, don't let no man come and beat you, but my husband or my boyfriend's coming in beating on me, what's going to happen? That's what they're going to do. And then you're going to look at them, girl, why you let that man beat on you? Because you let yours beat on you. So it comes together. I can't be sitting up there smoking a blunt, then tell my daughters don't do drugs, or tell my son don't sell drugs. We sending mixed signals. Just do as I do. They watching you. I ain't even got to say it. I don't have to tell my daughters don't get high. They don't see me getting high. Do you understand? And then I'm watching those friends. I'm watching those friends. If I see a little girl that's really, all out there, my daughter can't hang with you because I already know what's going on in your house. Feel me? That's how I parented. I'm talking from experience. People say, well, Cassie, that's old school. I remember one time I used to talk to them about going to school, college, right? I brought them up. They was babies. I'd sing the song, you got to go to middle school, high school, then college, right? That was my song for them, because I wanted them to be able to know that this is where we're going. It's not going to stop at the high school, because I need to make sure that you're good. So if I close my eyes, you're good. You don't have to depend on somebody else. Now, when you get married, okay. But until that moment, I can't take care of you until you make that transition to your husband's house. So I had to make sure, and they knew the rules of the game. They knew the rules of the house. So the rules of the house, the rules, it follows you. It follows you. Yes, some going to drop off. They going to, run into the, rebellion comes. But let's understand why that rebellion is there. What happened? Where did it come from? It came from somewhere. And we got to dig deep. When you seeing it now, you didn't did your best as a parent. What happened when you seeing that son? What's going on? Is the dad there? Does he have a mentor? You feel me? Because boys go through stuff that girls don't go through. So they got to have that male role model to vent. Because he may have something, Ma, you ain't gonna understand. I may not. Where's that male role model? Because without that male role model, you're gonna have a lot of rebellion. Okay? You gotta have, that's why I tell you, it takes two parents. It takes mom and dad to do this thing. Mom's trying to do it by themselves and say, oh, I was successful. You weren't successful. Let's be real, you weren't successful. Because your son out there acting a fool. Let's be real. Let's be real. Look at our children. And it was done on purpose.
Mm.
It was done on purpose, and we allow it. And we still allow it. Because we're not parenting on purpose with our babies, with our little girls. We're not telling them to get husbands.
Mm-hmm.
We proud our baby daddies. You understand? This is where we're going wrong as a culture.
Mm.
We're not parenting. We don't even like our children because you're giving them white folk every day. And then somebody say, pray for my children at school. I'm not praying for nothing. Get your kids away from them. You already know the plan. You already know where the school is going. You already know they got your school, the prison pipeline, and you still got your children there. So don't sit up there and ask me to pray for your children. You pray for your children and get them away from them. Start teaching your sons not to be dating them little snow bunnies on purpose. That's not what we're doing. And then we're sitting up here wondering why the police killing our babies.
So, Sister Cassie, let me ask you. So, are you saying that single mothers or single fathers cannot be successful raising their child, being in that single category?
What I'm saying is you need both. You single, let that man help you. That's his son. Let him help you. From age 0 to 1, you can have that baby, that boy. But from 10, grownhood, adulthood, that father needs to take that part. And you can see him on the weekends if y'all decide to do this thing separate. But you can't do it by yourself. I can't. I wouldn't even try to raise kids by myself. They need both parents because the woman's going to teach their son how to treat a woman, right? And I'm going to tell my daughter and show my daughter how to be the woman that she needs to be. I'm going to teach her how. So no, I'm not saying that a single woman can't. I'm saying you need both. If you're single, his dad is alive, you work something out for that child. It's not about you. If he don't want you, okay, but he has a son that he needs to raise. So I'm going to whisper in his ear because I need to understand that we're going to do this together. Before my first husband, he died, right? But before he died, we went through a divorce, but we agreed to raise my girls together. They couldn't call him and ask him. If I said no, they called him. He would say, "What your mama say?" We worked together on this thing. That was the best thing we could have did. We were horrible husband and wife. I was young. We came together for my girls, for our girls. He knew we had an agreement. I'm not going to go against you. I'm not going to talk bad about you. And vice versa. They couldn't go to him and ask him, or if he said no, I said no. We were still together on raising our kids on purpose because I knew what was out there. And I knew where I didn't want my girls to go. So no, I'm not saying, I say we need both. So ladies, work something out with him. You laid down with him. You saw something good in him. So what happened? The sex went bad. What happened? We have to work this thing out for our children. Men, you laid down with her, but now all of a sudden she just did. Wait, hold on. You was with her for 10 years, for 5 years. And now all of a sudden she that bad? Really? Why? Because Becky there? We got to do this thing together. We can't be vindictive because we letting us get in the way because he don't want you because he with Becky. Or he don't want you because he with Keith. If you was doing what you, and I'm telling this relationship thing we gotta come together. We got to, this is who you want, if the relationship is worth working out, then we work it out for our children. It's not about us. We have to build productive adults. And how do we do that? If I'm going at you and I'm cussing you out and I'm telling you, talking bad about their dad. I never did that. Whatever, they was going to see it for themselves. I didn't have to say it. You understand what I'm saying? When we were divorced, my daughter she was a senior, right? And let her go, she wanted to spend Christmas down there. Okay, go ahead, baby. I wanted her to see. And thank God I did because the next year he died. What if I didn't?
Wow.
I wasn't going to do that, but she saw, because that was the worst Christmas she had. And it hurt me as a parent. But I needed her to see that. And I didn't have to say it. But thank God that I did. Not
So what? Okay, I understand what you're saying, but what about the couple? So you have the man and the wife in the house, but the man is straying away doing what he want. He got a whole nother agenda other than raising the kids together, showing them how to be successful adults.
Are you guys married? Or is
Yeah,
that their dad?
yeah, uh-huh,
They're married. What
yes.
about counseling? I believe I believe we need counseling. I do believe that. Marriage wise, men wise, women,
Mm-hmm,
we as Black folk are hurt. So hurt.
mm-hmm,
We have to get that counseling. We have to instill. It's almost like a preventative measure. I
mm-hmm,
want to do counseling to prevent some stuff because there's some stuff happening in marriages all the time. We grew up dysfunctional. I was a
yeah,
product of rape, but I knew I didn't, and that was my mom, right? So
mm-hmm,
hey, I got here that way. But I knew that relationship, I didn't want that same relationship with my daughters. It's a
mm-hmm,
choice. It's a
mm-hmm,
choice. And yes, their dad was doing what he wanted to do. We was married for 10 years. He did what he wanted to do for 10 years. And I was the Christian wife praying for him every day. I did.
uh-huh,
I was hoping and praying that it didn't work. So guess what? I divorced him and we were
mm-hmm,
still going to parent our children. Just as
right.
I'm divorcing you, but you ain't divorcing these girls. I made an effort.
Mm-hmm,
Then I moved away. I made an effort. I called them. They call your daddy. Talk to your
mm-hmm,
daddy. He doing him. He would have them. They would go to his mom's. He would have little girlfriends. They're not going over your girlfriends. We had an agreement. They go to your mom's and spend the night because they, anything happened because I'm coming. And he understood that. We had an agreement. We understood each other.
mm-hmm,
I knew what it was. I knew when I married him, I knew what I had. We know what we have, women. You have to
mm-hmm,
make adjustments. Counseling works.
yeah,
It does. And sometimes you have to be in, ladies, we're going to have to do what we have to do. And
mm-hmm,
I wanted my girls to be around their dad. I wanted them to know him. And yes, when he had them, sometimes he didn't parent the way I wanted him to, but we parented different. But I
right.
still watched. My mom was in the area. Ma, go over there and check on the girls. You see what I'm saying? I didn't
Yeah.
say nothing. Ma, go over there and check. If they call me, I'm hungry. Ma, go over there and get them and just treat them for lunch. You feel me? Without hurting anybody's feelings.
Mm-hmm,
We have to use this as women. We
uh-huh,
get so vindictive. And it's not even necessary.
right.
It's about our children.
Mm-hmm,
That's what it was about for me.
yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Do y'all think that this epidemic of single parenting in the Black community, first of all, do you think that this thing is something that's mainly in Black communities where you have single parent household, or is this thing just in every race community is just singled out in Black folk community? I'll start with that part of the question first. What do you think, Sister Valerie?
I think it's all over, every culture, every color, but it's worse it seems to be worse with us. And I think you just mainly hear about us because the people try to put the Black Americans down. They want us to hit or be at the bottom. So you hear so much negative stuff. So I believe that it's just mainly us that you hear about, but it's everywhere.
Excellent. Sister Cassie, what say
Oh
you?
yeah, I believe it. I see it's global. I have white girls that I work with, right? But it's global. They going through. Woo, honey. What you do to us happens to you.
Yeah.
That's why they going through what they going through.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the crack epidemic? They put that in our neighborhood. Or they got that meth and that blow and they got all kind of stuff, opiates, and it's tearing their asses up. And it's supposed to, because what you
Yes.
did to us gonna happen to you. So it's globally. Oh, this is global. But we don't know about it because the news don't tell you.
Right.
But I hear it. Because I'd be listening to them white girls at work and I'd be so glad. Y'all getting it, ain't you? I said, "Ooh, boy, y'all getting y'all asses toe up, ain't you?" I tell them, "Yeah." I said, "What you did to them black folk, you getting it back, honey." I tell them, "I showed you." I'll be glad to tell them too. Ooh, they don't like hearing. I be listening, boy. I be held my ear to the ground, and I be like, "Ooh." One time, we heard a white woman say, "Man, back in our family must have really did something to black people." I said, "Why you say that?" I want to know. Why you say that? Boy, she said, my daughter. Well, she said her brother. Her husband's brother killed the mom. The daughter killed the sister. The other brother killed the nephew. All of this, and then they talking about the suicide. I said, "That's because of what you did." I said, "Yeah, y'all sure is going through some stuff, honey. Y'all must do something, black folk." I said, "But you know they chose, and that's why you can't touch them without getting. You cannot hurt me without hurting you first."
Right. Exactly.
That's what they don't understand. They keep trying to dip their hand in there. But you hit me, oh, you're gonna get that lick back, baby. You gonna it's global. We just don't hear about it because the news they don't tell you about it. When I'm around them, I'm listening. Ooh, I be clapping. I be glad. I be smiling. Ooh, he tearing that ass up, ain't he? Yeah. Keep on messing with us. And every time they kill one of us, they have a school shooting. Look, watch that. Every time they do something to us and they get off legally, they have a school shooting.
Yeah.
Just watch that one. Watch that one. I told my husband the other day, this was before. I said, "Okay, babe, time for a school shooting." And guess what?
Wow.
Because what you do to us, you think you getting off legally? You ain't getting away with nothing. You ain't getting away because I pray your lineage get it. I don't want it to hit you. I want it to hit your children's children. Just like it hit our children's children, right?
Yeah.
You better get that whooping, honey. You got to get that whooping. Sorry.
I want to go back to Earth Angel's comment and get y'all take on it. Earth Angel says personal connection with a higher power, the creator, morals, integrity, values. With these things, they are stronger as a person. So I want to ask you, if you, as a parent, if you incorporated the higher power into your parenting, how did you do that? What does that look like? And do you feel as though it was successful or it's being successful? This is Valerie.
So when I hear that, I'm thinking about taking your children to church or to the mosque or wherever, whatever your religion is. You raise your church. You raise your children. I'm sorry, up in the church, or and take them to Sunday school. Don't just take them on Sundays. Take them to Sunday school. Take them to YPWW. Let them do activities with the church, and a lot of that is rooted and grounded. And when I think about me taking my children to church, my children are successful now, but they always bring back the Canton spirituals because I always took them to church. We would go to church. They make a joke. We went to church every day of the week, but we really didn't go every day, but at least 3 times a week we went. And to me, it instilled something in them to know that there is a higher power, that there is a God, somebody that is down, will help them to succeed. But you gotta trust and believe in whatever it is you believe in, and that will help them, or it has helped them in my case, become the successful young people that they should have been.
Excellent. Sister Cassie?
For me, same thing. I took them. I don't know if we went that much, but I took them. But I preached it too.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I wanted them to also establish a relationship. It wasn't about the building for me.
Right.
It was about the relationship. I wanted them to know who he was for themselves. So rather, one daughter, she doesn't go, but she has a relationship. The other daughter, she goes sometimes. But relationship is important. It's not about the building.
Right.
because I raised them up in church. I taught them the morals, but I demonstrated it.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about it. We had projects at home.
Mm-hmm.
They read the 10 Commandments because I needed them to understand. And that's not, we're not doing that now.
Mm-mm.
We're not teaching the foundation. There's no
Mm.
foundation.
Mm-mm.
They go into these schools and you want devils to teach them what?
Mm.
How do we get from the teacher to now the student with them? We
Mm.
taught them how to
Mm.
bathe. And now
Yeah.
you have the nerves to let them educate your children. Do you see how their children turning out?
Mhm.
And we allowing them? They can't teach you now. They don't have the revelation. They're not the chosen. Those are Satan's
Mm.
seeds. You have them teaching your baby, sacrificing your children every day to Moloch in their
Mhm.
school. But we have to demonstrate it in the home.
Right.
We have to love on
Mm.
them in the home. We have to teach them when my girls would argue, whatever. That's your sister. We respect each other. I
Right.
stopped that. I think my daughters might have had one fight in the house. And when they did that, that was a great opportunity to teach them. That was the last fight. We don't do that to each other. You can go out there, do you fight your friends? But you're going to come fight your sister?
Mhm.
Really? Not up in here, you're not. That's a
Right.
parenting issue. You seeing kids fighting each other, they duking it out. They throwing each other across the window, out the windows. What the hell? Do we treat our friends like this? No. What are we doing treating each other like this? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's a parenting issue. So it was about relationship. I understood the morals. We read the morals. I taught the morals. I demonstrated it. I didn't just say it because I knew kids do what they see you do.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm telling them, like I said, girl, don't be smoking and drinking up in this house. Don't be wearing them coochie shorts. They didn't see me in coochie shorts, so they didn't want to wear coochie shorts. So you understand?
Mm.
They understood. I took them to the homeless shelter. I took them to the juvenile shelters. We taught, I showed them this is the result of you not doing this. This is the result of not getting your education. This is the result of being disobedient and going out there and walking and trying different drugs. I showed them the dangers of the drugs. I showed them the dangers of the alcohol.
Mm.
That's what it, just like when I bought a gun in my, I don't want to go there, but you show them stuff, right? They touch it, they feel it. You don't want to do it because you got the curiosity out, right?
Right.
So this is parenting on purpose. I didn't work full time. I worked part time, 3 days a week
Mm.
because I wanted to be there. I didn't work. I was there. My daughters went to school. I went to work because God told me to do it. He didn't tell me to have a babysitter all the time to do it for them. He told me to do it. So I wanted to put my oomph in there. I wanted them to put Cassie in there. I
Mhm.
didn't want my sister to put her ideas in there.
Right.
So they went to school, I worked. When they came home, I was home. I parented. We talked. We would sit in the floor as when they were babies. I got their dolls. We sat in the floor and they would talk about let's talk about your day. And we would just talk to our doll, and I'm talking to them. I'm teaching them how to communicate. It's parenting, and honey, this thing is not easy, but I knew what I had gone through with my mom, and I didn't want the same result. So my thing was prayer worked for me. I don't know if it worked for everybody, but at every age, I said, God, teach me how to teach this 2-year-old. What am I supposed to put in her? How am I supposed to? Every age, I swear I did. Every age. God, I've never had a 2-year-old. I've never been a parent. I didn't even have a great mom. I don't know what I'm doing, but I need you to help me. Show me what I need to teach her being 2. Show me how to discipline a 2-year-old. Show me how to talk to a 2-year-old. He was there every step of the way. Y'all can call him universe, God, Jehovah, whoever. But I needed him. I couldn't do it without him.
Right.
And I needed him to help me to raise my girls.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it. They're successful. It worked. And I'm not saying I was a perfect parent. No way. I beat the hell out of them girl. I was grab them up in a minute. Come here. But you have to understand, I didn't understand when I was young. I didn't understand. I treated them like my mom treated me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Until they got old, my girl, and I began to understand and begin to see. I had to apologize to my oldest. Oh, baby. Because that girl didn't have a chance. I was just like my mom at first. And I began to understand and pray, I need to be a better mom.
Mm-hmm.
So I started reading all kind of books because I wanted to do it better.
Mm-hmm.
Books are my friend. I love to read. And I begin to understand their love language, begin to understand their gifts, begin to understand how to recognize this stuff. And it just didn't come. I had my oldest was the oldest. How do I raise an oldest? What do they go through being the oldest? Then I had my youngest. What did my oldest go through when I had the baby? You know what I'm saying? I had to understand. I had a day and night child. How do I raise them? Being two totally different. What are your gifts? My daughter, my oldest, loves gifts. I could buy her a candy bar and she was good. But my baby needed that hug. She needed me to hold her. And I began to fill their tanks that way. So I didn't hear, Mom, you loved her more, because I was filling her tank and not hers. Because I was loving them both the same. You hear parents say, I love my kids the same. Well, you're doing it wrong, because they're two totally different people.
Yep.
I want to I'm gonna come back to that point, but I want to ask both of you, because there is this thing out there that says you can't whoop your children. This thing out there that says that's one of the new rules that the Cracker come up with. You can't
tell me what to do in my house. I'm gonna answer that one first. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you what. In my house, I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell you. He said what? Whoop and spoil not. That's what I did. I whooped and spoiled, but they understood the rules of the house. You understand? And I understand. Sometimes I whoop too soon. I come back and apologize. Well, you got that whooping because you didn't talk fast enough. You better come. When I call you, you better come. I don't need you sitting in that room 10 hours. And if I get up, I'm coming. Oh, I'm coming. My daughter slammed the door one time. Boy, you should have saw her face when I hit that door. You slam doors around here, but you understand, we parent on purpose. You can't run my house. That's my house. You ain't paying no bills. You can. And when you talk, you better have manual, this, that, and the other. That ain't happening. You need to understand in your eyeballs and your action, your body actions. You better sit down and keep me in control, because we're going to have a conversation. But when you get disrespectful, I may lose my mind. And my girls knew it. I'm just telling you, I was general, but if I had said something that I didn't do at the time, I apologize. It wasn't too big to do that. I apologize. I'm not perfect, but I do apologize, because maybe I did hit too soon that time. But it took you too long to get up. You gotta get up the next time. You understand? We're not perfect parents, okay? Right. But I'm gonna tell you what, I loved on my girls, but I disciplined them. And I remember I would spoil them things. They were so rotten, right? And then one time I lost my job, and I was trying to do the police academy. That was way back in the day before I understood the truth. And I didn't make it, thank God. And he knew what was best. And I had been so used to giving him everything. When Christmas come, when I celebrated Christmas, they said, how many kids you guys had? One. They was like, well, what good Lord, have mercy. I had spoiled her terribly. And then it was to the point where you couldn't say no. I said, no, you can't have this, because I didn't have it at the time. And she had an attitude. And I said, oh, hold on, we're going to reparent here. You can reparent. That's okay. If you see that they're getting spoiled and you can't say no, and they can't take no, or you can't tell them I'll think about it, or you have to always say yes, 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 or else they're going to be mad. Oh, I switch all that up. I said, let me sit down. Let me tell you what we're getting ready to do, because I see something and I see that I need to readjust the parenting. So I sat them down. This is what we're going to do from this day forward. You ask me, you may or may not get it. I started saying no. I started saying, well, we'll see. I started saying, well, I'll let you know, or I'll say, I'm thinking about it. I stopped saying yes immediately, even though I knew I was going to give it to them, but I stopped, because life is not telling them yes all the time. They had to understand how to cope when I said no, or when life says no, right? They weren't learning that. And I had to revamp. I had the money I gave. Them little things was terrible. My oldest still kind of selfish, but I told her, you don't bring her back. That's yours now. Sorry, I spoiled her. She's terrible. But I'm just saying, we have to parent on purpose.
Yeah.
We have to. I read all kind of books trying to learn, because I told you I came from a product of rape. My mom didn't spend a lot of time with me, but I knew I wanted a different result. I was bad as I was terrible, but I had a reason, because I was unloved. You understand what I'm saying? So I had to figure this thing out with kids. And I didn't want to hurt them, because I was hurt. Man, I had so many books I was reading, everything. I was trying to get this thing right. And I'm not even, we ain't perfect. I told you, I'd be there. Woo, come here. I'd be there, grab them in a minute.
Mm,
Just saying. What perfect parent?
exactly.
But I loved them and they knew it. But I
Exactly.
showed them. I didn't just tell them, I showed them. That's the
Mhm.
difference. I can say I love you, but don't show it. They need to see it. They need to hear it. And that love tank needs to be full every day
Every
on
day.
purpose.
Mhm.
But
Definitely.
that's why I couldn't work 17 hours a day and then come and fill their tank because I'm tired. My tank ain't full. You understand? So
Mhm.
part-time 3 days a week was enough,
Mm.
and then when I had to work full-time, they were older. So that was different, But I had them look when they were small, I was gonna be there. I was gonna get this parenting thing right. It was important.
Mm.
That's my mic.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Sister Cassie. Sister Valerie, what's your take on whooping that tail? Do you believe that that's something
I
that
told
has
my
to happen?
I told my kids up. I tore they behinds up. Just my mama taught me to get the switch off the tree, and she would. And I did the same with them. With them. But I did, eventually apologize because my daughter, she was holding that against me, and so we had a rough relationship. Cause she said you used to beat me all the time. Well, that's all I knew, cause my mama whooped me all the time. So yeah. So yeah, I believe in whooping. But now my grandkids, I don't beat them. They get
Mhm.
away with everything. They spoil rotten. Yeah.
What? You don't spank your girl, please, honey. Get your tail out. Come here. I sure will. She gonna get it too. Because I don't want her coming in disrespecting. Oh no. My granddaughter's 14. And
Uh-huh.
she knew grandma whoop in a minute. She'll tell you. I said, you don't listen, I'm gonna spank. Yes, I do. You don't come here and run nothing. Oh,
Yeah.
them grandkids be bad as hell. You can come
Yeah,
in
they
here
do.
crying crazy. No. She 14? No. Come here. Grandma, she'll tell you, grandma, she'll get you. I don't play. But I don't go against my daughter. If my daughter say no, don't come and ask me because it's no. I
Right.
don't do that grandma thing where I'm gonna override my daughter. That's
Right.
disrespecting
Oh
her.
yeah.
No, we're not gonna do that. But my granddaughter knew, and if she said something to my daughter, because my daughter would let her talk, oh, she's expressing herself. Well, she can't express herself around me. Don't talk to your mother like that. Your mom ain't got sense enough to tell you. I'm gonna tell you. Because you hurt yourself and you're hurting your children by allowing them to disrespect you.
Mm-hmm.
You're short in their days. No. You don't talk to your mama like that.
Yeah.
So she understood when I was around. I don't care how you talk to her when I'm not around. But when I'm around in the room, I don't care who else we at. Respect is respect. Period. That's my mic. Girl, don't be playing with them kids, honey. Ooh, child. That thing. Ooh, and my granddaughter's just like me. She's a split image of her grandma, really, on both sides. Okay, she got us from both sides because her other grandma's a Muslim, Maurice, right? So she got that side, and then she got this side. So yeah, we be tag teaming her sometime.
All right, I want to take this second to welcome Narma X to the program. Welcome the Forecast Radio to the program. Also, welcome Twin Pyramid to the program. Peace and blessings, family. Everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Our topic that we're discussing tonight is parenting on purpose, because we believe that we have a problem in our community. And a big part of that problem is with the lack of parenting that is going on. And so a lot of people really don't understand what parenting is, why it is so important. Just listening to you two, I remember one time when I was a little boy and I was down south with my mom's family in Louisville, Georgia. And it was the first time that I'm on the farm, and me and my cousin down there throwing sand in each other here out by the pigs. And so our great grandmother, she came out there and took a switch off the tree and whooped my cousin Shell. And that was the first time I ever seen anybody get whooped with a switch. And so she turned to look at me and said, "Come here." So I took off running. And, down in the South, you could run in the back door and run right out the front door. And so it just so happened as I was making my way halfway through the house, my mom and them pulled up. So I ran out there, and soon my mom got out the car, I ran to her and held on her. My great-grandmother said, "I'll whoop you and your mama too."
That's right.
My mama pushed me off over there. I was like,
She was like, bro. She was like, oh no.
Yourself up with that switch.
Ooh, you gonna try, honey? I ain't getting no whooping with you. You on your own.
Now it's like, because I believe it was Norma X who talked about consequences, that children have to know that there's consequences in life.
Yes.
When we let children just run and do whatever they want to do, then when consequences come, they find it hard to deal with that. When dealing with consequences, how do you look at that as a parent? Do you look at it as everything has to have a consequence, or these things we can let slide, these things we can't let slide? How do you deal with that? Sister Valerie, start with you.
So in raising kids, you can't let a lot of stuff slide, because kids, they begin to take advantage of you if you let too much stuff slide. So you have to address everything in some sort of way. But I mean, you can let a couple of things slide, but if you let too much slide, it's going downhill.
Definitely. Sister Cassie, what say you?
Well, for me, I look at the white folk kids that had no consequences. You got a mess. You got to shoot them up and bang them up and drown in, you got a whole lot of mess because they've allowed no consequences, no discipline, right? You have to have rules. That's anywhere you go. You got rules on your job, right? You got rules driving. You got rules in your house. I hope you have rules in your house. So if you have rules, you have consequences, but every behavior has a consequence, right? Bad or good. That's what I used to tell my daughters. Either you're going to get a bad consequence or a good consequence, right? But you have to have consistency. You can't be yelling. I see parents yelling all day long. What in the world? Who's going to do all that? No, ma'am. I don't have time to tell you 5 times somebody told you 2 years ago. You ought to know it by now. So if I consequent enough, that right there, we don't have to take care of. That's done. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But when I have to keep singing a song over and over, my mom didn't sing to me, so I'm not going to keep singing. This is the rules. And I need you to write your punishment. When they got older, they wrote their punishment. What's the punishment for doing da-da-da? What's the punishment for doing da-da-da? And they would come up with their punishment. Okay, this is your punishment for doing whatever it was. But when they were smaller, they understood the rules of the game. And we put them out you come out with the birth with the rules. When you old enough to understand, that's 2, you start learning rules. We can't say this. We can't do this. This is what's expected. This is what we're doing. This is how we run our house. You can't fall out on the floor, else this is what's going to happen. 2-year-olds like to fall out. Okay, there's a consequence for you falling out. Right. So my granddaughter got it real quick. You know what I'm saying? I can fall out with this grandma, but I can't fall out with Grandma Cassie. No, ma'am, you can't. What do you do? What are you doing there? And one time she started and looked, she's better not do that one. See, so she understood the consequence, right?
Yes.
But you have to establish rules. You got rules going to school. They have rules on their job. You have rules. So you're establishing the discipline, right? Okay. Yeah. So when you have a house with no consequences or discipleship, you have a mess. You got Wild Kingdom up in there. And I'm not going to live with Wild Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because, this is what it is. And they have to understand the rules of the game. So no, we don't, consistency is everything.
Yeah.
That's my.
You wanted to add something to that, Sister Valerie?
No, she was on point.
But do you get to the point where you're like you can be overbearing with a child? How do you strike that needed balance where they have the freedom, to do what need to be done or what they think to be done. But yet you have them still in order that you don't go beyond the limit. We can see, I know I've seen places where you see white people have their children on a dog collar and they just running around, doing everything. And, in a few videos that we're going to show where they give this type of advice and tell you, don't be an authoritative parent. You got to be the kind of parent that sit back and, you have the conversation. But when you're trying to have a conversation with a savage don't understand it.
Right.
They understand pain and pleasure. Period, point blank. But this new wave of parenting that they want you to accept, I look at it as Sister Cassie brung up, that they out here shooting people in school. Now, when we were going to school, that was the furthest thing from our mind, that somebody will come to school with a gun and shoot people. Well,
yeah.
But, this is what they're producing, school shooters. This is what they're producing. When you look at that, could you say that part of their parenting skills work because you have some of them that don't school shoot, but go out here and run quote unquote corporations and make big dollars and all of this kind of stuff? So is it, sometimes they have success, sometimes they don't have success, or is it just all a masquerade? What say you, Sister Valerie?
I believe that it starts from home. I think that is how a parent raises their child. Now, we can't expect to know exactly what they're doing outside of the house, but somebody going to shoot up a school, you should know, you should see some type of signs that there's something wrong with this child. If somebody's out stealing cars,
So the parent
everything starts at home, and the home training. You can pretty much tell when a child is not into trouble. A child is not going to give the school a hard time, or the teachers rather a hard time. How do they treat you? How do you treat them, or how's your relationship at home? And so it can go both ways, because I do know that children are can be one way in the house and another way outside. But at the end of the day, it's what's instilled in them. Did you try to teach them right from wrong? Did you try to teach them that you have to listen to people when they're trying to do the right thing, teach you something? So it can go in all cultures, but at the end of the day, on everybody, no matter who it is, it starts at home.
Excellent.
Well, it does start on home. It does. A lot of that starts at home, and that's you parent, and when they're younger, you're teaching them, you're training, you're disciplining, you're doing all of that when they're young. At some point, you'll get to a point where they know what to do.
Right.
They know, and then you begin at a certain age to back up. When my girls were sophomores, because I knew they were going off to school. So they would come to me and ask me, what do I think about blah, blah, blah? And I said, well, I'm teaching them how to start thinking for themselves. So what do you think about it? Because I knew I was going to send them off to college. So I wanted them to be able to think for themselves. I can't always think for you, right? So I began to back up. But then I remember a time when my daughter, my oldest, was 17, and she was getting ready. She was a senior, and like 6 months before she was graduating, she began to rebel, right? So I had to figure out what was going on. I was like, either I'm going to hurt her, or I'm going to need to figure out before I hurt her what's going on, okay? Because she was, just acting up. It was a difference, I could tell. So I began to just, okay, let's sit down first. Let's talk. Let's see what's going on. What's happening, what did I miss?
Mhm.
And she had a friend that was adopted or living with foster parents. So she was doing everything, right?
Mhm.
So I began to say, okay, she wanted a little extra. I was still seeing her as my baby, right? I wasn't giving her that leniency that she needed. It was time to let go a little bit, and I didn't. And I just didn't think about it. We got so much going on. So I began to talk to her. What if I had to set her down and I would begin to listen, because they knew it was a safe place of us conversating and talking. It was a safe place. What's really going on in here?
Right.
Because we did that all the time. So it wasn't a problem for her to say, Mom, you just do, the word, you just do too much, right? But I was too tough on her. I was still holding on and treating her like a baby. And she went, I've expected her in at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, she a senior. Well, Mom, can we go to 11 o'clock or something, right? Okay, let's compromise. She wanted 1, I say 12. Okay. But we had to compromise because I needed to release that and give her a little more room to breathe. Okay. And that's what we begin to do, but I didn't understand that behavior, but I was stuck. And we could get stuck as parents, right? We could continue treating them and overbearing them and, and treating our babies like, treating them like babies. That's not good. I needed to release her because I was getting ready to release her to college, and I didn't want to be so overbearing that she was a wild turkey in college. So I began to release. I began to back up. It was hard. I had to learn that. But we went to, we was tussling at first because I was like, what in the world? But I had to learn that. I had to, to release her. And I didn't know how. So here I go with my counseling. I believe in counseling. I do. Because I didn't know how. How do I do this? Let me ask somebody that is doing it or has done it. So I asked different people, what do you do? How do I get to that point? Well, because they said, Cassie, you put it in her. You see it's there. You know it's there. You put it in her. It's not going. Where is it going? She knows your expectations. She knows what she's supposed to do. You can trust it that she knows. I'm sure she got away with some stuff, but eventually she got caught. But we have to back up. I'm not going to be with her in college.
Right.
I'm not going to be there all the time. So I have to trust that what I put in her, because God told me to put it in, and I put it in, that she's not going to depart from it. Right. So that's when I began to trust me and trust her, that what I put in her, she's going to operate in it. And of course she got in trouble, sometimes she wasn't a perfect child. Right. And when she did, we just handled it. What could you have done? Or how could you have handled that situation different? But I was glad she was at home when she made those mistakes.
Right.
Because I could begin to help her to rethink, well, what did you do? What was your actions, and what could you have done different? So parenting on purpose. This is what we did.
Wow. That brings up a good topic, a good question, rather, because as you said, you had to release them. You had to release them into college, so we release our children out there into the world.
Too soon sometimes.
But the question is, when it comes to dealing with whites, Hispanics, Asians, do you teach them that white people are not your friends? Asians don't like you. Do you teach them what comes with each race of people? Like for me, I taught all my children from little babies, the white man is the devil. Period, point blank. It wasn't no if, ands, you want to see the devil? There he is right there. The white man is the devil, And I sold it into their minds that they knew they go the devil. You want to see a man that has no good in him whatsoever? There he is. There's that white man. Understand your enemy.
Yeah.
And so, I fed that into them daily as they were growing up. Daily, this is what this is. This is what that is. The Asians have a culture that are against Black people. Do not think that they're your friends. Don't think that. And so some would say that that's harmful to children. I don't believe it is. I believe we got to be straight up and let them know what they're going to meet out there in that world. So my question to y'all as parents, what was that like for you? Did you do something similar or something different, or did you not even deal with the race issue? Valerie, we'll start with you.
So at the time when my kids were coming up, I didn't deal with the race issue. Um, I was in the hood. I was in a all black neighborhood anyway. So I really didn't know about the racism and all that good stuff. I didn't know about it until after my kids were grown, or as they were older. But even then I did not deal with that. So they kind of found out on their own dealing with the police, because one of my sons have dreads, so he's constantly getting stopped by the police, and the police actually broke his wrist at one time. And so they pretty much learned on their own. And so I can't really speak to that. Yeah.
Wow. Sister Cassie, what say you?
Well, their dad went to a black Mississippi State, so he was very black first. So he taught them that white folk can't be trusted. He taught, hey, don't bring them home, don't date them. They know, and I didn't have to. He did. And then my baby, that's more. She didn't grow up with him a lot. When she was 4, we divorced, right? But I began to kind of help her to understand that they're not your friends, but she really didn't understand. She went to Denver University. One of my children went to Norfolk State, okay, a black, which was good, HBCU. And my baby went to Denver University. They had a total different understanding, a total different experience. And my baby went through hell with the white folk, right? That taught her what we were saying. She saw it. She experienced it. I mean, they was taunting her. I mean, but she did 2 years and got her degree. But I was calling up there and I told every security, look, let me tell you something. What's your name? I got the name because I'm coming. Let something happen to mine. And I said it just like that, and I meant it. Let something happen to mine. I'm going to need you to go up to that dorm right now. Because if you don't, something happen to my baby, I got your name, Philip. I'm coming. Trust and believe that. And I'm not having no mercy. Because they ain't have no mercy on my baby. I'm not having no mercy on you because I told you to go check her. So for 2 years, she was there. But the one young man that was really the head of the group, he ended up getting expelled. Thank God. I couldn't. Oh, I'm so glad that boy. I was praying on him hard. I fasted on that food. I'm just saying, it worked for me. So they got with it. I said, I ain't eat to this little joker. He got to go. Either I'm coming up there, or God, you can take care of him. I fasted on that little bastard. I'm telling you. So he got expelled. So he was, and that was the main corporate. I'm telling you, it's one. But she understood, and she was telling me about some of the experiences. I said, baby, that's racism. And she began to recognize it. So that helped her to understand what her dad was saying that she didn't understand because she'd never gone through it. But she began to understand and recognize it because he had already told her about it. You see? So my oldest went to an all-black school. She already knew she wasn't dating no white guy. She already knew. And we teach my granddaughter, they devils. She said, Grandma, they're going out together. Plus she with the other grandma, right? So she already know, don't bring with them home. They are not your friend and they are not safe. But when she was young, she would have this white whatever. And I said, that little girl is not your friend's eye. And she would talk to, and she began to understand and recognize. So now she understands. But she had to go through it because she thought that little white girl was her friend until she found out. She had a little black wake-up call. And good for you. I'm glad you found out early. So now you'll know them damn little bastards is not your friend. Them little demon babies. Satan's seed, Satan's children are not your friend. And I said just like that with her. There go one of them say that's Satan's seed right there, baby. That's the devil's seed. Those are not friends. Those are pets. They're not friends.
That's right. That's right. One of the things when we talk about how it was when they instituted welfare, and one of the requirements to getting welfare was that there be no man at the home. So the move to remove the man was, to me, a definitely like a military tactic.
Yeah.
Because then you without the man at home, then there's a lot of things that go missing.
Yeah.
And I don't think as a people we have recovered from that tactic.
Mm-hmm.
And so reading, I came across a few things, and I saw that they use biblical principles against us. If God said do it this way, then they would swap it so that the way God gave it, you will be successful. So he set it up in a way that you're going to be a failure.
Right.
And he pushes this idea out there.
Uh-huh.
And so I wanted us to look at it, to deal with it from this perspective as well, because a lot of things, as we've all heard the saying, you establish peace through strength. And the white folks will say that all day, establish peace through strength. But they got that out of the Quran. That's one of God's principles, that you establish peace through strength, meaning you whoop that ass and they will get in line.
That's right.
You don't just fold over and let them do anything to you.
By any means possible. That's right.
You got to take charge. And so, they use these principles. And so when we're looking at the destruction of the Black home and removing the male, from a woman's perspective, what does that do when you no longer have that male, that man that was with you, that helped produce the baby, the babies, and they're with you, and then one moment they're not with you no longer. What type of psychological situation do women go through? How deep of an impact is that on women? Sister Valerie, we'll start with you.
So I would say that for me, is not a good feeling. It could lead you down to depression or any type of mental illness if you're used to that person being there, and especially if the person is out and just like staying out for days at a time, and then want to come back, and this back and forth it's not a good feeling at all. You need that person, for me, I need a man there to help with my boys, because I have 3 boys. So I needed a man there and not be absent. So for a person to come in and you trying to raise your child or your children, and here comes Johnny on the spot going everywhere but home with his children, raising somebody else's children, but instead of trying to put principles and positivity into his children, it's an issue, and it causes you to relook at yourself. It helps to bring you, like I say, into a mental state of depression, and you start having low self-esteem, because you want to know, well, why? It's just not a good feeling. You didn't make the kids by yourself, so why should you raise them by yourself?
Do you see that as a rejection, as a woman, as a rejection to you as a woman?
Yes. I see it as a rejection, because it's like, you may not, or the man may not have an issue with the kids, but he's trying to do something against me. So I feel like, he's just doing what he's doing because he wanted to show me rejection. Want to see how I feel. Yeah, I'm gonna be rejected, and it's just causing me to be down.
Wow, excellent. Sister Cassie, what say you?
Well, I think about what Sis was saying about the back and forth, and And I told you I had married young,
Mhm.
their dad, my girl's dad,
Mm-hmm.
and his dad. And I thought, and I grew up with no dad, so I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. I ain't know nothing. But I said, okay, if I get a guy that had his dad in the house, then he would know a little something, right? That's my thinking. But I didn't say his dad had to be there. He needed a healthy relationship. He needed a dad that was healthy in the house. I didn't say that part. I forgot that part. So my ex, his dad was in the home, but he was an alcoholic. But he was a woman chaser. He was, he wasn't healthy. Yes, he had a dad, but he wasn't a good environment. He wasn't a good example. So pretty much what his dad showed him was what he was, right? But I didn't understand that growing up with no dad. I thought, well, if he got a dad in the house, this was young. He didn't really understand it. So after 10 years, I was tired of that. I said, you got to go, bro. I was sick. I mean, done. Because what was I showing my daughters? He wasn't there.
Right.
He was getting on them drugs. He was, and I didn't even know what drugs. You guys don't understand. Mama, I was so sheltered. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know a lot of, he was doing. I remember one time I seen this aluminum foil on the dresser, and I'm opening it up, didn't even know what it was. It was cocaine, right? So I'm like, whoa, what is this? So I'm like, what is this? So he rushing over there, but that's just a little bit of my life right there. But I understood what I wasn't going to tolerate, because I wasn't going to tolerate doing all the bills. I wasn't going to tolerate, him, out all times of the night. Dude, no, you got to go, because what am I showing my daughters? So for me, because their dad was that way, it was mandatory for them to get counseling, because before they started dating, before they got into relationships, I wanted them to realize what a healthy relationship. They didn't see that with their dad. They didn't see that with him. He wasn't there. People didn't even know I was married. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that I wasn't going to tolerate that. I tolerated it for 10 years, and that was enough. So that, to me, it wasn't rejection, because we grew up different. I grew up without a dad. He grew up with his dad, but his dad was, I ain't gonna say all that, but his dad was healthy. Okay, let's just say it like that. So I began to say, oh, hold on. Just because his dad was there, is it a healthy environment? Was he teaching him healthy stuff? Was he a dad that was going to, spend time with him? What kind of dad was he? So I started, okay, that was another question. Now, you started dating. Now you understand the questions to ask, because I wasn't getting back into that. You feel me? I was learning from my past, learning from my mistakes. And I had to have counseling so that I can retrain my thinking, because of my growing up without a dad. I didn't even know what a dad looked like. I didn't have one. My mom's family, they were by them. They were strong Black women, and taught us how to be strong Black women. And I didn't want to be strong like that without a man, because I like men. I'm just saying, I wanted to be a husband. Y'all didn't have one, but I wasn't gonna do it like y'all, because I didn't like to say I don't even like to have way y'all living by yourself. Who don't need a man? What is that? That's abnormal to me.
Yeah.
I wasn't. That's not. So it was mandatory for me to get the help I needed to be healthy. So this was what was required in my house. But their dad was there to help me to raise them. So they did have that relationship with him, even though he was still doing, he thought he was the greatest man in the world. He thought he was the greatest dad, because I asked him one day, I said, do you really believe that you're a great dad? Yes, he was just the bomb. He thought he could do. I said, Lord, this man don't even know. But I ain't say nothing, okay, whatever. But, but I knew that my girls was going to need that help, to recognize a great man, a great relationship. And my daughter got with the counselor, and it was a man. It was a male counselor when she got older, and began to just instill some very valuable things in her life, what to expect. And it wasn't that they were, having this, it was, he showed her and taught her what it was to have a healthy man around. What's a healthy man? Because a lot of Black women don't know. We're looking at dysfunction. We're looking at boys that don't know how to be fathers, how to be husbands, how to be providers, how to be protectors, because their dad didn't grow up in the house. So you got a lot of men that you're expecting to be husbands that don't know. They don't have a clue. How do we do that? How do we raise a child? How do we become a father? How do we get responsible? Counseling is your friend. Therapy is your friend, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do this. It's mandatory in a marriage. It's mandatory even dating. You have to have that because our boys don't know. And that was done on purpose. They knew what was going on. They knew the effects of our, they studied us. They knew the effects of you taking that man out the house.
Mm-hmm.
They knew what that little boy was, the effects of that little boy, what it was going to do to him. They knew that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why their family's in the shape it's in now. But I also read a story about the elephants. Remember the elephant, the male elephant being taken away from the family, and the women and the children were together, and the males, they separated them, and then the boys and the baby male elephants begin to terrorize the women, the women and the other children and elders and stuff. They was terrorizing them, and these scientists said, "Hold on, something's wrong here," and they knew it was because of the male elephant wasn't with the family, so those boys were acting crazy. But because nobody was teaching them.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't have your head, your king, your house is out of order. That means the woman is trying to be the man. Sweetheart, get out of that seat. That's not your seat.
Yeah.
And we're taking over our husbands, our king's seats because it's empty. Why is it empty? Because your government told him you can't be in the house, and we agreed. Instead of us coming together, working together, we have to understand every time they do something for us and with us, it's for our demise. We didn't understand that. We thought, oh, they offering you something great. Yeah, they offered you something. It wasn't good for your family because look at our families.
Right.
But it's up to us to correct the problem. It's up to us to get it together. It's up to us to do the right thing for our children. It's mandatory counseling for our babies, for us. Period. How do we get this? We gonna keep doing the same stuff over and over? I'm not. I need to fix this thing. If I see something wrong, I need to fix it. I'll go to counseling in a minute. I need some help because I don't know how to get this back on track. Show me how to get this back on track.
Wow.
I just believe that.
Wow. You know, that is, I got an article that that Deacon sent, and I'm going to share it. When there's a Bible saying, I believe is biblical. Bad communication corrupt good morals.
Evil communication corrupt good morals.
Thank you. Evil communication corrupt good morals.
That's right.
What does that mean? Let me get y'all's take on that. How do you interpret that, Sister Valerie?
I think if you're evil, then there's nothing good gonna come out of evil.
Okay. All right.
How I look at that. You know how my mom used to say, birds of a feather flock together, right? I remember back in the day, my oldest was, she was probably 9 or 10, and she had this little friend, and she was so fast. And I said, you can't hang with her. And people say, you can't tell your kids who to hang with. I'm the mama. Yes, I can. You don't tell yours, but I'm going to tell mine. Whatever. Don't tell me how to parent. I was very big on that. You do you, and I'm going to do me. So that little girl, when she would come around, I bring my kids in. You can't hang with her. Seriously. And I began to understand because that little girl was molested. That's why she was acting like that. Wow. So if you're doing some stuff has happened to you, evil communication corrupt good manners. You feel me?
Yeah.
So if you're doing this over here, if I happen to let my daughter spend the night at your house, then guess what? That evil communication is going to corrupt good manners. Evil acts will corrupt good. You understand now?
Yeah.
I didn't have time for that. I'm raising, I'm parenting on purpose. Okay. I can't let that stuff impact my household. I have to understand what friends she hanging out with, what's going on in their house. Let me talk to the parents. because I didn't let them spend the night. I didn't let a whole lot of kids spend the night at my house either. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what's going on
Mhm.
in your house at night. You got a whole lot of dysfunction going on among folk. And I'm just not going to jail for you. So I'm gonna keep mine with me, and you're gonna keep
Mhm.
yours at your house. So when it's time to go home, you go home.
Mm.
Okay. Or if you did
Mhm.
spend the night, they didn't sleep in the same beds. I had a whole another bed for them. Okay. Just where you gonna sleep, door open, everything. No, I watched everything. Oh yeah. But I had to understand that I had to watch her friends. So when one did slip in, I began to understand the evil communication because that one young lady was doing some of everything. You know,
Mhm.
she was a foster child, and then my daughter wanted to, and I began to see the difference in the behavior. You
Mm.
understand? So I understood what my mom said: birds of a feather flock together. If you hanging out with a person that's getting drunk, you're not drinking, you're gonna eventually try it, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Somebody smoking that weed, here, try it. What you
Mm.
gonna do? You're gonna try it, right? You don't even need to hang
Mhm.
around that. And I have taken that throughout my whole life. If I saw somebody doing something that I know that wasn't good for me, I'm not gonna hang with you. I remember hanging out in high school with a young lady, and I didn't know her that well, and she was very promiscuous, right? So, and I didn't know, so I'm at the game with her. So, she's, and I'm with her, so they thought I was the same way. So I began to get different, different guys shouting and, saying all kind of stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know where this come from, because that's not me, right? But I
Mhm.
understood because somebody pulled me aside and said, so and so. I didn't go to school with her, so I didn't know what was going on. So I began to understand that her lifestyle was a little different than mine, and I
Mhm.
was getting a little residue of her lifestyle. So
Mhm.
I had to break that. I had to break that friendship off because evil communication corrupt good manners. I wasn't doing that, so I
Mm.
didn't want to be, I guess, known as as that person, because that wasn't who I was. Yeah, we were good friends, but that wasn't. I had to cut that off. So we have to be, even with ourselves, we have to pick great friends, even for ourselves. That's
Mm.
going where we going.
Right.
Mhm.
And I rest my mic.
Excellent, excellent. I want to go and share the article that Deacon has shared with us. Um, and I want us, as I'm reading over it, to figure out where was the mistake at? Where was or how our sister could have kept her life? What did she need to be aware of that obviously she wasn't aware of? Um,
Hmm.
so it says Illinois' mom was interviewed for TV news piece about violence against Black women. Weeks later, she was killed.
Mm.
Sierra Jameson was strangled to death outside her Chicago home where she lived with her 6-year-old son. It was not the first time she had been attacked. And this is, of course, the picture of our
Mm.
sister. When Sierra Jameson, 30, was attacked with a knife in a recent attempted carjacking in Chicago, she spoke with CBS 2 reporter Dorothy Tucker for an investigation into violence against Black women. But before the segment even aired, Jameson was attacked a second time, this time strangled to death outside her home Monday night, according to Chicago Police Department. Lawrence Curtis Boyle, 63, had been charged with one count of first-degree murder, according to the police department press release. Boyle was arrested Wednesday and remains in custody, was due in court Friday for a detention hearing, police said. It is not immediately clear if he has entered a plea or retained an attorney. Jameson family was inside the home when she was attacked,
Mm.
and her aunt, Sadina Jameson, CBS 2, that she knew her accused attacker as a friend. And unfortunately, this is a picture of the attacker. This is someone she was comfortable around. This
Mm.
is, don't know what happened to the rest of the article, but let's see. Okay, there we go. This is someone she was comfortable around. This is someone she trusted. So she had no reason to fear. Jamison had recently celebrated her 30th birthday, was a phlebotomist who planned to soon start nursing school. Her mother told ABC7 she was also the primary caregiver to her 6-year-old son, who has autism, and who Jamison told CBS2 before her death had had an open heart surgery.
Mm.
And the interview with CBS2 has partially aired in connection with her death. Jamison recalls being accosted by a man trying to steal her Jeep Wrangler, which she described as something just for myself, because I knew how hard I had worked for it. I knew how many sacrifices I've done for my family and for my son.
Mm.
She added, fighting back against the carjacker. I'm not fixing to let this young man with a knife at that take anything I worked hard for away from me. Jamison told Tucker, the reporter, that the other woman who saw in distress came to her assistance, and ultimately the man did not get away with her vehicle. So she and another woman fought him off. But here she is, raising her autistic son by herself. Fights off a carjacker. She earned it. She got her vehicle. And then she was killed by a 63-year-old black man, strangled to death outside her home with her own family right there inside the house.
Mm.
There's so many things wrong with this. Where do we start? Because this young lady, her son now will have a definitely harder time being without his mom. We don't know anything about dad. The article doesn't mention dad. But this is a torn up home
Mm.
where so many things that should have happened correctly didn't happen. And why would a 63-year-old man strangle this 30-year-old woman? I have no clue. But what were some of the signs that maybe she should have looked for to be able to diagnose this type of individual? Or is it a situation where you really can't diagnose this type of individual? You know, what are the warning signs that women need to begin to pay attention to? Because obviously he was somebody that shouldn't have been as close to her. Sister Valerie, what say you?
So number one, there is always warning signs, whether we want to see them or not. A lot of times females are in love with the guys and they just overlook anything that would warn them against the person. Um, I don't believe she should have been out fighting for no car, because even though she worked for the car, she had her autistic son that she needed to raise and not have someone else raise, because there's a lot of things that happen, with daycare and different things or different people, uh and when the people can't talk back. And I don't know that her son or her child could talk, but she needed to be there. So you have to be careful when you're around certain people, and especially to have someone in your home that you may have just met. um I'm not sure how long. I don't remember if you said how long she may have known them. But for him to be 63, strangling that young lady. That's terrible. Um, so in my mind, I'm thinking that maybe down, in his earlier years or something, he may have had anger issues. And so if that's the case, at some point, being around her, she should have seen that the anger come out in some type of way, because a lot of people that suffer with anger issues, they're going to lash out at you at some point, whether it's physical, mental, or they're gonna their anger gonna come out, and you're gonna notice it. And then they could go back, because a lot of times what men do is they beat women, and then they come back with flowers or candy or something, trying to baby them up. But you can't fall into the man's trap. You have to keep your mind open and stay focused. And a lot of time, this is where you might have to do the counseling, like the young lady talks about the counseling, because sometimes it's imperative to be counseled. And because she had not had a vehicle, she had worked hard for her vehicle. um she wasn't going to let it go. um to me, stresses that there was uh some more issues besides this young man and the things that he was dealing with. So she should have got away from him. But sometimes we just don't see the whole picture.
Mm, exactly, exactly, and that's definitely a hard thing, because you don't see the whole picture.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of times, when you finally do see the whole picture, it's too
It's
late.
late. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Do you recommend? I know Brother Forecast said that this is why a lot of Black women started buying and carrying them things on them. Do you
Mhm.
recommend women to carry weapons, carry guns?
Not really. I just a lot of times, depending on the things that happen, that carjackings or things, it be the person that's trying to take from you will be done took the gun from you and shot you with your own gun. So
Mm,
I mean, I have my own weapon, but I don't carry it all the time. I just, I mean, there's enough guns in the streets now with people not knowing how to use them, is and then also, if someone comes at you and you have that on you, um, you and I ain't gonna think to pull it out. So what's the point in carrying it?
mm. Okay, excellent, excellent. Sister Cassie, what say you?
Well, I always believe in carrying your candy bars. This toxic, this culture is so toxic. I'm in Walmart. I'm looking because I'm not gonna let you walk get too close. I'm looking for them dysfunctional white demons. Okay, that's overdressed and got a shotgun or something. I'm looking because
Mhm,
I'm not gonna let you hurt me for free. Okay, we're gonna
Mm,
fight tooth and nail. Seriously, I believe in protecting myself.
mhm.
mm,
I don't believe any Black person should be in America without your candy bars.
Right.
Period. And I understand. I used to think the same way, but when it got so dangerous out here in these streets, because my thing is, I want to be able to fight to live another day.
Mm,
I want to be able to handle my business if I need to. Because I
mhm.
can't fight no man. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah.
Okay.
mm,
So when I see danger, I'm gonna
Mhm.
make enough room because when you practice, you already know to go to it. You ain't gonna
Right.
forget you got it. Trust me,
Mhm.
because you be looking seriously. I ain't gonna forget. I don't know because you practice enough. You ain't gonna forget. You know
mm,
it
Yeah.
is there for a reason. I mean, I
Yeah.
walk my dog, and I have my candy bar with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I live in an area where, you know, it's a lot of white folk, you know, and not that, you know, it's just, you know, and I don't trust them.
Right.
Vans walk coming around, you know, they'll let their dogs out. So you let your dog out if you want to. You stop your van, and you know, and I feel seriously, come on, we have to stop. This happens, and I don't want it to be happening to me when I know I got something at the house that could have prevented all that.
Yeah,
you don't have when they see you, they don't. When they see you with your candy bars, it's a total different story.
Yeah,
they don't even treat you crazy.
Yeah.
So, and I understand, but my thing is with her, the young lady, safety is everything. Safety, a neighborhood. And I remember growing up in Gary, it got to the point where the neighborhood was bad. And I was like, I'm not living like this. I come out the house, my kids out there, and they gangsters shooting. No, I'm not living like that. You have to get out of the area, the environment. Safety first. 63. Who was he? Did he come from prison? I find these men as they these babies have other issues going on.
Right.
Okay, that they can, you know, they can control those babies, and that's why they with a younger woman. Okay, that's a sign, a first sign right there. Because you know, being young, you had, you know, older guys trying to holler, and I'm like, you got some stuff going on with you. Because I already knew I was too young, and you 50 years old. I'm 32. What the world? I'm not, you know, even being 23. What am I gonna do with that? That to me is a red flag.
Yes.
I don't need a grandpa. I don't need a sugar dad.
Right.
You know, and you've had them, you know, and they come now, you know, they come. But that's, to me, is a red flag. When I got a 50-year-old man and I'm 23 and you try to help, woo, nothing. Back up. Because I'm not interested, because I already know you dysfunctional. Okay, but that was something that I learned, you know, just watching my friends who had these older guys, and they would, you know, they would give money, but then they was very controlling. They was manipulative, and they would treat them bad. And, well, you know, Cassie, I love them. That ain't love. No. And see, here we go again. We don't even know what love is. No. That's not love. If a man is putting his hands on you, that's not love. I love me. Don't ever put your hands on me. I don't even want you yelling at me.
Right.
I have too much respect and love for myself. You understand what I'm saying? So when I see, so that right there is an issue. Did he come from prison? You know, did he have anger issues? If he was choking her, I guarantee you she saw some signs in his behavior previously.
Yep.
But you think it ain't gonna happen to you? It ain't gonna happen. He ain't gonna do that to me. But how was his other relationship?
Right.
And I guarantee you this was somebody that she was probably sleeping with. 63-year-old, getting his little retirement check or whatever, crazy check or whatever whatever kind of check. I'm just saying. Yeah. That's what I see. And that's what I think. And I could be wrong, but I see him as a sugar daddy. I see him as somebody that was providing financially for her. And he was, you know, they was friends. Okay. Butt buddies, whatever you want to call them. And I do believe that relationship, she knew what she had. I do believe that. Why is she going outside? And why couldn't he come in the house and talk to her?
Right.
You feel me? Why did I have to come outside the house to talk to you? That's a sign right there. I'm going to stay around some family members because you get them high, I get them low.
Yeah.
You gonna come in here acting crazy because I'm not going anywhere. And even for me, you know, when we, you know, earlier dating, if I saw a sign of a guy that had some other issues, I cut him off in a minute. I wasn't interested in no trauma and drama. I swear I wasn't. You know, and I often talk about the guys we were skating, and you know, he come acting, you know, jealous and say, "Oh no, bro, no, we're not doing that.
Right,
we gotta go." I don't, you know. So you have to have standards, and we have to teach our daughters these standards. You know, but we teaching them when they're babies because we're showing them. But guess what kind of house she probably came out of? That's another thing. How did her mom allow her men to treat her? Where'd she get the 63-year-old stuff from? That's her mama's stuff. Okay, because I guarantee you her mama had a 63-year-old man or a 73-year-old man somewhere hidden that was coming over there for, you know, for help as friends. This uncle so-and-so. And you had more uncles than anybody. You know what I'm saying? So I saw a lot going on with this young woman. You know, but safety first. Sometimes if you had gotten, just like with the car issue, let them have it. You got insurance.
Yes.
Let them have it. I'm not gonna die of a car. Let them have it. It's not That's why I pay insurance.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get hurt over a car,
Mhm.
But my thing is, sometimes you have to move out the area to be safe.
Yeah.
It's okay to move. Oh, you don't have to live in the ghetto. When we were buying our house, it was, they was trying to put hey, I'll give you so and so live in the drug infestation. I'm not living like that. I'm just not. Now you clean it up first, but I'm not moving in there, and then I have to get myself in trouble because I'm unsafe. And then we work. You just like minds need to live together. You understand what I'm saying? I don't need to work every day and live around crackheads. I'm not doing that. You feel what I'm saying? No, safety first. And even as a young woman, my safety was up. That's why I got up and moved. I was young. And I was like, I'm not living like this. I didn't have to.
Yeah.
I rest my mind.
Excellent. Excellent. When do we come from, or when do we make the switch from being dictator to begin the process of reasoning with our children? Because there's a time where we should be dictators, and then there comes a period when we transition from being dictators to be able the process of reasoning with them. At what point do you think that that's the appropriate time to go ahead and make that switch? That's the first question. And then the second question would be, is it proper for children to judge their parents once the child grows up to be an adult? Is it proper to say, well, you was a shitty parent, you did this, da 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 da? Is that proper? And I say this because I watched the show called The Chi, and the girl was in counseling and brought her mama to counseling. And, her mama was saying the things off her chest, it wasn't bad, but was just saying, I didn't really want children or nothing like that. But, I got them now, and, I'm going to live, do what I'm supposed to do. And when the daughter heard that, it was like she just unleashed on the mom. And the mom was like to the therapist, can you help me out here? And there was no help for her. She was just being boom, 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 boom. And I sat back and watched that, and I was like, wow. I was like, in my mind told me, Keisha, that's not right. You shouldn't did your mama like that, because she didn't say she didn't love you. That she never said that whatsoever.
But she heard that, though. She heard that. That daughter heard that. And her actions, you have to understand the actions of the mom. Because I'm, here, that right there for me is kind of like very sore, because my mom, because of the rape, and then here I come on the baby of the rape. So a lot of stuff that I went through, and even sometimes being put in a situation where the same thing could have happened to me at being a child. So we ended up talking about that. But and then as you get an adult, your mom, my mom was trying to tell me how to parent. Excuse me, no, thank you, but I'm not gonna. You couldn't. You didn't. So what gives you the right now to try to tell me? And I wouldn't disrespect her, but I say, I got this. I didn't know. No. We would have our conversations, as I got older, just to let her understand how I felt. But if you receive it or accept it or not, it didn't matter. I just need to help you. I wanted you to understand. But I think respectfully, yes. But even with my daughters, if I did something, my daughter raised my granddaughter totally different than I raised her. And she gave her the right to express herself. And she got a mess. You do that in your house. When you come here, you ain't expressing nothing. And I'm hard on my granddaughter because I see. And my daughter's, now she sees, my granddaughter's 14. Now she understands and she sees the ways of her error, by letting her be, boisterous. So you got a child that's talking back. To me, it's disrespectful. But now she can't get her to shut up because she's 14. But you did that. That's your mess. That's something you got. No. So you want to come stay with me for the summer? You going home? Because I can't take it. Because I can't. I be with no. You come like you be. I can't do it. A couple weeks. That's couple weeks. You got to go after then. You're done. Because but you understand how you can't do that here. But you can do that at home.
Mm-hmm.
But what you do at home, you think you can take somewhere else. But she's been around me enough to know. But it's still, sometimes it will go off, and I'm like, girl, come here. Come here when I come here, because see. So yes, we have to respectfully. I do believe that you have a right to do that respectfully. And the other thing was the dictatorship. I think every child is different, but I think that if you're sending your child off to college, at some point you begin to back up and you begin to allow, because they know the rules, they know the regulations, they already know what you stand for, they already know how you feel about certain things. And once you've poured it into them, it's there. So they're going to operate in it. So yes, you could be comfortable. And I think maybe for me, teenage sophomore year, for me, it was sophomore, junior year, I began to back up because I had poured it into them. And I wanted to see what was in them sophomore year, because I still had time to correct some things that needed to be, because I knew they were going off to school. So sophomore and junior year and senior year, they were good. I didn't have to, at some point, you don't have to do that, because you poured it in and they know what to do. They know it's there. It don't depart from them, just like he said. But you have to pour it in. If you don't pour it in, then you're going to have to talk the whole life, and they may or may not get it.
Right.
Because you never poured it in. But if you pour it in, they got it. So you can back up. I didn't have to be,
right,
doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
When they, 14, 15, I didn't have to do that. You knew the rules. And then when they forgot, then hey, come here. We need to have a sit down. Let's talk. Right. Because we already know we don't. That's not what we do. What's going on? Because sometimes they go, make a transition. You transition with them. So yeah, I rest my mic.
Excellent. Sister Valerie, what say you?
So I believe that around 14, 15, that I could just stop. I had instilled enough in them to, carry on. I was kind of strict, but then I wasn't strict. But at the end of the day, I felt that they were mature enough to make it, so I didn't have to just pound on them. I was good. But as far as the respect, my daughter, till this day, sometimes I feel that she's not respecting me, because she didn't like some of the things that I did as she was growing up, or how I raised her to be. And so she lashes out from time to time. And I try to tell her, you can't disrespect me like that. I'm still your mother. I don't care how old you get. I'm always be your mother. And so, every now and then, we go through this challenge thing. She's real close to her dad, but then she can talk to me any kind of way. And it doesn't work like that, and I don't want her to be the same way with her child, or her child to be the same way with her, because it goes down generation to generation. And so I'm really trying to stop it, and I'm trying to better my relationship with my daughter. And the past is the past. So you didn't agree with how I raised you. You can talk to me. I'll talk to you about it, but don't disrespect me, because I still got a fist. Don't disrespect me like that.
Let me ask you, can I ask you a question, sis? When she does disrespect you, what is her consequence for that? What do you do when she does that?
Actually, I just leave, because normally we downstairs or something. I just leave and come upstairs.
How old is she?
30. She 30 something.
Okay.
30, 34, 35. But I'm not confrontational. Back in the day, some 5 or 10 years ago, I might, would go there with her. But right at this point, I just walk away. Yep. At this point, I just walk away. Yeah.
Wow. And one thing that I don't think children take in consideration is what the parents are going through at the same time while trying to raise you.
Yeah.
They don't understand or know about the pressures of the world, and still trying to be a provider and maintainer and all of these things. At what point do we, or even should we, bring them in to understand all of the things that go on with trying to be the best parent that you can be, and keeping you alive at the same damn time? Because it's difficult.
Right.
It's difficult. We have stressors out there in the world, and then we come home from work, we don't want to take it out on you,
Right.
but damn it, when we say sit down, sit your ass down.
Right.
We say stop doing that, stop doing it.
Yeah.
But in their mind, you don't want me to have fun. Fun? What the hell is fun? For me, I was the kind of parent, I was not the one that's out there throwing the football with my boys, and that wasn't me. I can remember my oldest boy saying to me, Dad, why I don't see you smile? And I said, smile? I said, I do smile. I said, I smile when you're getting your awards and your brother, sister getting an award. When y'all doing good, I smile. I have a good time.
Uh-huh.
I said, but anything other than that, I don't see nothing funny. We live in a real world. And so I'm out here every day trying to make sure that I prepare a way for you. So no, you ain't going to see me all sitting back like, cracking. I don't see nothing funny.
Mm-hmm.
I got a job to do. And so I don't want you to be out here thinking everything funny and good, and letting the world go by and you ain't accomplishing nothing. Mm-hmm. We got an enemy that we got to get rid of. Right. So, that's the kind of dad I was. I mean, I would literally have drills, in case, flood happened or whatever, my children to get into the vehicle on a timer. You got 5 seconds to load up in this vehicle, be in your spot. Boom, go. That type of thing. I had one child, Darshan. She was our quote unquote combat medic. So if somebody got sick or went down, she come with the first aid kit. She gonna do this, she gonna do that. Another child is a spotter. Another child, is looking for this. I practice noise and light discipline with my children.
Okay.
Because in my mind, I know that there's a war coming. Right. And so if it comes while they're still children, they're going to be prepared. That's the kind of dad that I was. Always boom, 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 boom. Just like that. And my oldest daughter, Jamila, she's, out in California in school. And she talked to me one day and she said, Dad, you always taught us the extreme. It was always the extreme, this. But, when I got out here into the world, I was prepared for the extreme, but then had to realize the extreme ain't going on. It hasn't come yet. So she said, I had to moderate myself to be in a position to be able to be civil with everybody until somebody got out of the spot, and she thanked me. And one part of it, I thank you for that. I wish you didn't have to go that far.
Well, even with that, do you now still teach, even right now with adult children? I still say, okay, because one is, this place and one is that place. I still kind of say, okay, if something happens, we have a meetup spot. You understand what I'm saying? Because, but one is married to a service guy. So that's your, you got this. You know what I'm saying? So my daughter's in great hands. With my baby, I said, okay, we need to have a meetups even now, because I do believe what you're saying is coming. And I want us to be ready. You have the food, you got the water, you got an emergency kit, your emergency bag. This is, if we have to meet up, you can't contact me. Here's where we're going to be. This is where this is the meetup spot, and I have several. So if I'm not, I'm gonna try to get there, but if we can't get there, then you know what I'm saying? So do you still do that with your kids even now? That they're adults?
Even now, yes, that's a part of life that, I don't believe we have the liberty to stop practicing, to stop preparing for, because it could happen at any date, at any time.
And I believe it's close. What do we think?
Exactly.
I think, and nobody gonna tell me we're not gonna be shut down again. And there it's
Mhm.
coming. And I do
Mhm.
believe that, and it's gonna be this within the next few weeks. You know what I'm saying? I do believe that they're gonna shut it down again. And my
Mhm.
prayer is that I can get out before they shut it down. Because once they shut it down this time, they ain't opening it back up.
Mm.
Mm.
That's what I believe. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong, but I do believe it.
Well, I definitely believe a shutdown is coming. I mean,
Yes.
I work in hospitals, so um,
Do you see that stuff more so coming back now?
oh yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, we just had an announcement the other
yeah,
day as I was
yeah.
getting ready to go to the floor to
Mhm,
bring patients their medication,
mhm.
and we had 2 floors locked down because
Right.
of COVID,
Yeah, yeah,
and more and more I have to, put these clothes on when I'm going in patients' rooms.
yeah,
You
yeah.
got to garb up and stuff.
Mhm.
And when I'm seeing this more and more and more, and
And I believe this time,
even,
I believe that they're going
Mhm,
to mandate it. You know what I'm saying? More so, and it's going to be jobs. It's going to be worse than it
mhm,
was before because they keep
mhm,
telling you. And when your enemy is telling you something's coming, they
Mm.
already
mhm,
done planned it. So you got to be
mhm.
5 steps ahead of them.
Exactly,
You've got to be. So
exactly.
I keep telling you, family, stock up,
Mhm,
get your money, stock up, have you some money that you can get your hands on in your house.
Yes.
mhm,
You have to. Don't have stuff where you can't get a hold to it. Have
mhm,
your car, your emergency bag in your car. So if it happens and you're at work, be ready to operate, be ready to do what
mhm,
needs to be done. Have you a backpack in your car and at home. Um,
mhm.
to have some food in your car. In case you can't get back home, you can keep going. You always be prepared.
That's
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
for all emergencies.
Mm.
That's
Right, especially right now.
Mhm. Exactly. That is right on point. Be prepared. Each and every way, any way possible, be prepared.
Yeah.
Our time, we're almost up on time. So for this last 4 minutes, my closing questions to you both is, what is the joys that you have received as mother and as grandmother? And what is your hope, your wish for the future?
Well, mine is I'm so happy that to see my children grow up and all be successful, and my grandchildren coming up. I believe that we're about to shut down, like you guys said. So at this point, I just want to be ready for anything that's coming up, anything that's coming our way, because I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I know it's not going to be good. So I'm just sitting here just waiting.
Mhm. And what are the joys that you get from being a mother and a grandmother?
I love my grandkids. My kids all right. My kids all right. I love them. I don't hardly see my oldest. Well, I don't hardly see any of them. Just one of them I see all the time. But my grandkids, I have one that stay with me, and it's just a joy. I just love being a grandmother. Um, I'm learning, especially after tonight, listening to the young lady. I can't give them everything they want at every time. Every time I got to start saying no. And stretch it out. But my grandkids is the joy of my life. I think they just my strength. When I see them or when I talk to them, because I got a couple of grandkids that just call, say, "Grandma, I just called to say I love you." That makes
Mm,
my heart. I be so elated. Yeah, so they my joy.
mm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Sister Cassie?
Wow, the joy, man, the joy is just knowing that I did it different than my mom. I have
Mm,
a total
Mm,
different relationship with my girls than my mom did. And
mm,
yes, I was hard, and I was the general. Their dad used to say, "Oh, that's the general," but it was okay. You call me what you want to. I was going to make sure that these girls were going to be prosperous adults. They were going to get their degrees and they would be able to survive without me.
Right.
And they would know how that, yes, you can do that survival mode, but when that husband comes, that king comes, back up and let him be.
Right.
And you have to make that transition to allow him to run his house and to allow him to let that home be his safe haven, and just to know that I talk to my girls all the time. I'll be like at work and they call, what you doing? Oh my God, I'm at work, or just to know that, we talk all the time. We're on conference calls and we planning vacations and we planning, I just came from Costa Rica with my daughter, that's my travel buddy. And we just with that when we went to Africa for 6 weeks, we were just there. But I just appreciate her even want to travel with her mom, because I'll go without you. But just for her saying, Mom, well, let's go, so let's go to Japan. I don't have no desire to go to Japan. I said, you going there by yourself. Because I don't want to practice like that. I'm just saying, Costa Rica was good, but it's not the motherland for me. I love Africa. I love when I went there, I went to Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, Zanzibar, 5 different continents, and enjoyed it immensely and want to go back. I just love, I'm telling you, it's nothing like you've ever seen, nothing like what they've said. But I just appreciate just my daughters just appreciate me sometimes. They know I raised them to appreciate their mom. It wasn't a birthday where they didn't get me something. I don't care. Go draw me a picture. I needed them to understand that I'm just as important as you are, And I told my daughter, I said, I'm expecting a stipend when I retire. I need a stipend. I'm just saying, I took care of them. You can't take care of me. If I need something, all I have to do is just mention it and my daughter go get it because I did it for you.
Yeah.
But I just put them in the habit of appreciating their mom.
Yeah.
Don't be having me a birthday come and you ain't get me nothing. Then you looking at me like I'm supposed to get you something. Well, I'm just saying, I believe in you loving on me the way I'm loving on you. We gonna love each other together, And with my granddaughter, I'm really teaching her more so than I taught my daughters. I'm really teaching her self-love, how to love herself. She talking to these little boys now, and one little guy, she introduced me to him, and I knew, they was friends. But I knew it was more than friends, the way she was talking. And I didn't like something about him. And I began to explain what I saw in him and how he was beginning to treat her. And I saw where, she was calling him. And I'm like, we need to do some of that, So I'm able to, and she'll tell me stuff that sometimes I don't want to hear it. She will, she tells me stuff, I'm like, oh my God, but we have that talk and I appreciate her even coming to me to open up to tell me stuff like that because she didn't have to, Grandma, so-and-so, these girls was in the bathroom and they was vaping. What? But okay, well, what happened? Did you vape with them? She said, Grandma, they were sharing the same vape. She said, that C word is here. So that was so funny. But the way she looked, I said, well, did you share with them? I wanted to see her answer. She looked at me like, Grandma, they were sharing that thing. Everybody mouth. She had a whole fit. But I said, okay, well, do you want to vape? If they wouldn't shared it and they would have offered you one, would you have tried it? So we went there, she said, well, Grandma, I don't know. I probably would have. I said, well, okay, because, they going to do stuff, and then I began to talk about that. Well, we don't really know what vaping does to you. You don't really know. We don't understand what that's doing to your lung. We begin to get the medical part of it. And then I began to teach her, don't believe what you hear. Even if I say something, research it for yourself. Don't go by what people tell you. Research it for yourself because I need you to wisdom. Google is your friend. Wisdom is knowledge and understanding. And you have to, don't just take somebody's word for it, and that is what I've taught her. You have to investigate for yourself. Yes. So I rest my mic.
Perfect. What a wonderful, wonderful program. And I thank our panelists, Sister Valerie, Sister Cassie, for joining us and imparting great knowledge and wisdom and understanding into this important topic of parenting on purpose. And I kind of want to do at least a program a month at the minimum on parenting because it's something that is needed. I want to be able to even bring children on. Yeah. And, let's hear from them what they're saying and be able to have this kind of dialogue going back and forth, because it is something that is needed, because our families is where we produce either good or bad people.
Yeah.
That's where the production starts, right there. That is the warehouse. That is the production house. And so we have to get better at producing the kind of people that we need as a people.
Right.
We've lived under sin and unrighteousness for so long now, and I'm ready for a new reality. I'm ready and understand that the only way that we're going to get this new reality is that we have to bring it in.
Right.
We have to produce it.
Yeah.
And even with that being said, Maurice, also a parenting on purpose is, even in the Black community, how are we going to grow our communities to where we can depend on each other? Where do we start doing that? What is in the Black community that we need? We need schools. We need birthing centers. We need our own shopping centers. These are things also that we need to talk to our children about. Entrepreneurship, creating generational wealth. How do I do that? By buying land. How do I do that? By buying properties. How do I, giving them ideas. We need pilots. We need farmers. We still need farmers. That most Black children don't know nothing about farming. They don't know nothing about hunting. See, so these are topics that are so important in our Black community that's so much needed. You gotta start from the grassroots and rebuild that thing up. Because what these white folks taught them in these schools, they ain't taught them much of nothing. Algebra. What you doing with calculus? What I need calculus for? Teach me how to invest. Teach me how to be an entrepreneur. Teach me the gifts. Teach me how to farm, to fish, to hunt. We got to get back to that.
Yeah.
Exactly. We definitely have to. And, this is where it comes together. I want us to make sure that we understood. And I was telling this to Doc the other day, too, that, when W.E.B. Du Bois was talking about the talented 10th, everybody says that he's talking about those with the degrees and the letters behind your names. But in reality, that's not the talented 10th. That's not it. They're slaves to the system. We are the talented 10th. Those of us that can see beyond this enemy's world. Those of us that understand who this enemy is and what our God really wants of us and are unafraid to go there. We are the real talented 10th of our people.
Yes.
And it is for us to make sure that we get this message out and our people do what is required. See, this is why J. Edgar Hoover was looking for the rise of the Black Messiah, not because the Messiah taught well, not because the Messiah got you to go up and say, yeah, but he motivated you to do what need to be done. That you got up off your behind and hit the streets and got the work done.
Yes.
That's what they fear.
That's right.
Yeah.
But we are here now. It's our time now. And it is what we must do. It's on us. We can't look to nobody else. It is definitely on us. So I thank my panel.
Thank you.
I thank our panel. I thank our chat. I thank everybody for being thoroughly engaged. And also, make sure that you all subscribe to Sister Cassie's channel, Realm on the Bush, and also to Sister Valerie's channel, Conversations with Valerie. And we will have, we're doing the conversation with Valerie on Monday, right?
What time?
Monday at 7:00.
Yep.
And we're going to be talking about mental health.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
In the Black community. So this is going to be a good one. And Sister Cassie did a short program on mental health as well.
Okay.
So this is going to be a very, very good subject. So I ask everybody to tune in. And trust me, you may learn some things or hear some things that you've never heard before. This is going to be a real tight subject. And you can always catch Sister Cassie on her channel, Realm in the Bush, and she's here with us every Saturday. And we'll be back with Doc on Friday. Doc was out on his little expedition today, so he couldn't make it with us. But we'll see him again on Friday. As we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first, today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.
Go on.
All right.
Peace.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.